Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we'll say Kalam Layel Bashim Yashab Bashim Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. GMS doesn't mean I learned the truth from, right? And didn't follow no other camp, I don't know any other camp, I don't learn from any other camp, right? So the camps are off. Other camps are straight up fucking weird, man. You got some weird stuff going on, man. You know, Passover is supposed to be solemn. They say, oh, okay, have like a black and white event, right? Or black and gold. You know, they're making board games. They have fucking commercials before the video starts. They're making fucking drill music. I ain't got nothing to do with that, man. Right. Today's lesson, children of the plantation, right? Children of the plantation is a euphemism used to refer to people ancestry tracing back to the time of slavery. The United States, in which the slavery, which when the offspring was born to African American females, either still in a state of slavery or freed, in the context of the transatlantic slave trade, and non-black men, usually the slave's owner, or the owner's relative, or the plantation overseer, right? So raping of, so-called black female, right? Judite female and Southern Kingdom female, right? It could be Judah, Benjamin, Levi, whatever, right? By, Edomites, right? Usually the slave's owner, right? Or the relative, or the overseer, right? And this is on Wikipedia, right? These children were often considered to be property of slave owner and were also subject to the same treatment as other slaves in the plantation, right? Now, they always call themselves the Israelites, right? These Edomites over here, they call themselves, the people, the children of God and things like that. And, they painted Yahushua as being in their own images, right? Which the scriptures talk about that. They, like in the book of Maccabees, he didn't, want to paint their likenesses, in the scriptures and things like that, which, that same wicked spirit only continued on in, in the time of the Renaissance when Esau, came back into power, right? And a lot of things continue because you have that wicked spirit, in what, John 8 and I think 44. Look that one up. You're the father of the devil, right? And go into the breakdown on that one. It's really easy to break down. I'm talking about wicked Israelites in context, but the information there is still good. To talk about the way Esau's spirit is. He's a liar and he's fucking pure fucking evil, bro. All this stuff that he did back then. But this is all humiliation, what he was doing. Right? Humiliating, the so-called black woman. Right? Humiliating the children. Right? And humiliating us. Right? And that same humiliation he carried on further, later in history to this day with, his illuminated society and the boule and all that stuff that they do to this day, which is now, I don't know how much stuff they found about Diddy, but I mean, I'm not going into that shit, man. I mean, whatever little shit they found on him, man. I mean, we have documents and shit and stuff documented that goes back, fucking decades of what that nigga was doing, man. And it's not just fucking him. It's like all them niggas are fucking weird, bro. They be fucking each other and shit. It's humiliation, and they're all into it, Many of these children, right, and with us, right, if they're children of God, right, then why aren't they following the scriptures with the system, right? Because when you take a woman of another nation according to the scriptures, the child of that female is given the same rights as anyone else, as any other Israelite, right? Because that is an Israelite. Right. If I have a child with another nation, the seed line goes to the men, Numbers 1 and 18, right? So, and even Jews will admit this. Amalek admitted this. He has an article on Wikipedia that talks about this, and he'll go into, how in an ancient world that the seed line passed through the men, always, but it just came from the Romans, that the Jews basically adopted from the Romans the idea that the female carries the seed line, which, doesn't make sense. The female is just like the, okay, how does it go? The female's like the tree almost, and the child like the fruit. Like the man plant the seed, right? And inside the female, or you can say the female is like the earth or whatever, right? Man plant the seed in the field. You say the female, and the female give birth to fruit, which is the offspring, right? Which is the child, right? But the father is the one who laid that seed in there first, right? So it goes to the seed line of the father. I hope that makes sense. It goes to the seed line of your father, and wherever your father is, that's a spirit that's gonna enter. That's gonna determine the spirit that's gonna enter into the child, right? Because with reincarnation, it's tied to your nation. It's tied to your people, right? Like my family, they're all Jeeks, right? Even though some may not look like Jeeks on my father's side, they're all Jeeks. I truly believe that in the spirit, and I believe that you know, because I teach and everything, and like I believe I have faith that I have to be, a Jake. I don't know what tribe I am exactly, but I believe myself to be, Judah. I just say Judah, but I don't know exactly. But man, my father in my life, but I talked about my seed line like a million times. I'm not talking about it again. But basically, with all that, the only spirits you can have if your father is an Israelite is another Israelite spirit coming to you, right? It goes through and cycles through, right? Now, sometimes it can kind of, go beyond tribal lines. Like we know about John the Baptist, like his Abba Bivens and things like that. Like that's a Levite as John the Baptist, and then he became a Judite later on as Abba Bivens, right? So it can go beyond. It can go beyond those tribal barriers or tribal lines, which all the tribes, we all come back from the same person anyway. So so you could be a great grandfather coming back, or you could be someone from another tribe coming back, but just you happen this time to be an Ephraimite or whatever. It's whatever the Lord wants. And I believe brothers even said that Abba Bivens was a Judite, so and stuff like that. Right. The men who follow these children, I just want to explain that, right? So if your father's an Edomite, right, and the Edomite spirit reincarnated is going to enter into the child, right? And likewise, if the father's Israelite, then the Israelite spirit is going to reincarnate to the cycle and enter into the child. You can't have, like, I can't be like an Israelite, deal with a heathen woman or whatever, and then my child have an Edomite spirit enter into the child. No, it'd be an Israelite spirit because I'm an Israelite, and that's an Israelite child. That's the way that works, right? One of the father's children ought to use their power and authority to force themselves upon the black females, girls, or women, often 13 to 16 years old, or when they commence menstruation, who are under their control. Plantation owners raping females was a common occurrence. These children were born into slavery through a legal doctrine known as partes sequitur ventrum, which pretty much says that the children are still property, essentially, and that they're not going to get rights. It classifies mulattoes, a former term for a multiracial person, right? They still, do use that term nowadays, even though, it's, what do you call it? Not, it's an insult, essentially. Some of the fathers treat these children well, sometimes providing educational or career opportunities, or many meaning freeing them. Examples are Archibald and Francis Grimke, right? So these are Edomites examples, right? Right? Like, so I want to see if you had a wife, right? Because we're gonna. Oh, child of a white mother, so he got with a white woman. Okay. This is a guy with an Edomite father who got with a white woman, right? None of Thomas Jefferson. Oh, okay. Well, we know about the children of Sellers Hemings. You should know about that. Alexander Scott Withers, right? So, oh yeah, he sold children. He had children with a slave and then sold them. you know. And then the rest is, yeah, we could actually continue reading on here. Yeah, Toni Morrison wrote that the sexual usage of slaves was known as Detroit de Signo, I don't know how to say it. The right of the Lord, a term originating in feudalism of medieval Europe. You know, while Jake was still ruling. Right of the Lord. See how wicked they are, man. See, but you're not supposed to. If you take a concubine according to the scriptures, you're not supposed to misuse them. Or you're not supposed to abuse them. You know, you're supposed to take care of them, and you're supposed to take care of the child, and the child will be as one of your own. You know, you're not supposed to, treat the child like a slave child, an illegitimate child. You know, it doesn't work like that. You know, only children that are legitimate, children that we're not going to accept into the fold, right? Which about that was Deuteronomy 22:3. Moabite or Ammonite were not accept into the congregation, even to the 10th generation. So if your father is a Moabite, or your fathers go back to Moabites, if your father goes back to Edomites, we're not going to accept you. Which the way that we're going to be able to judge whether or not your father is this or that in these days is, whether or not you have the Spirit on you, which that's how we judge everything, whether or not you have the Spirit on you, the Spirit's understanding scriptures. You can look like a straight up, red-haired Edomite, but if you understand these scriptures and you get it, we judge you time and time again in the Spirit, and it's like, okay, yeah, you got the Spirit on him, then it's like, you're one of us. You have to be, and then, yeah. Alright. This is the book of Deuteronomy 28:30. Thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Right? So, start of it, right? You should betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Right? And another man shall lie with her. So pretty much what we're going to get in a second, they raped anyone. They raped single, young black women who didn't marry anyone yet, right? And then they also raped, women that were married. Sometimes if a man married a woman and had children with her, they would sell the father away, the husband away, and then the slave master would rape the defenseless mother and force her to have his kids. So it's that same paradigm and that same dynamic. Verse 32, thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to other people, and thy eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all the day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. See? And, our children are being sold. Maybe if you did have children by men, you sometimes sell the children away, and then the mother gets raped and things like that. And then it's just like, the cycle would continue. And that's what we're reading about right here, the children of the plantation. So this is 13.org, PBS. For the most part, just kind of go into here. For the most part, masters made young single slaves the objects of their sexual pursuits. However, they did on occasion rape married women. The elevation of the slave husband to protect his wife from such violation points to another fundamental aspect of the relationship between enslaved men and women, right? Which that same paradigm and dynamic they want to keep here, have the men be powerless, to protect the woman and things like that, and pretty much in a way like demasculate, the Israelite male, and that's why they always push out these weird agendas and, shit like that, these weird relations where a woman can have multiple men and a man is happy with that, you know, and they want to just keep it that way, you know. The paternalistic language of slavery, restriction of slave law, and the circumstances of slave life created a sense of parity between black wives and husbands. Let's look at the word parity. Parity, the state or condition of being equal, especially regarding status and pay. So equality, because we were both, basically at the bottom. So basically we're just like, it had no power at all there. This is the book of Joel 3 and 3. They have cast, like verse 1, for both those days and that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, right, which happened through slavery, right? Jerusalem's the northern kingdom, both northern and southern kingdom were taken down and brought into slavery, and abused and mistreated and things like that. Northern kingdom, I think they said there was like millions up here before over here, before Esau came, and now look at them, he got sizable amount still, and they're still around, but they're not around to the same degree that they once were. That's all that judgment the Lord brought on them by bringing Esau over here. You judged us too. You judged Judah too, and so the kingdom too. Verse 3: Ye have given lots for my people. I have given a boy for an harlot, and sold the girl for wine that they might drink. Right? And you see here, it's translated slave trade, black souls were sold for musket, wine, milk, and other resources. Same thing to the females. They were sold for wine, and sold for this, and sold for that. And sold to Esau, Edom. And Esau eventually, had his way with them, and then the woman gave child, and then that's where you get your wheat and your tares in Matthew 13, like 25 and stuff, right? And the term for them, the euphemistic term for them was the children of the plantation, and that's what they used to call them, but that's just the spirit of Esau. He has no boundaries. He has no morals. He's fucking, wicked. Let's see here. This is gonna be like the last thing I'm gonna get, and then I'm gonna close off, and I gotta figure out what I'm gonna talk about tomorrow. This is the book of Psalm 58:3. The wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Right? So they're just fucking wicked, man. Straight up, man. They fuck a man's wife, on like in the plantation we just read about. Man is over there working, and then you just take your wife and then rape him, and that's the shit that we had to deal with, And I read about that they did that to mulattoes as well, which are tares. They did that to them as well. I remember reading that in the Black Jacobins. There was an account of that. I'm gonna read that book again. I've been a little all over the place with these books, man, but I think I might low-key drop everything and read the Black Jacobins again. I read that book a long time ago, and I would go into like little snippets of it. It's a good book. That's a good book. So I might go into that again. Big videos about it, and so on and so forth. But yeah, you low one, your buzz edified, and I'm gonna leave it like that.